And this is another episode of Movie Talk Discussion Review with Aaron and Warren. I'm Warren, that's Aaron. And this is our Christmas episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Round, baby.
Please clap.
We had a sort of like a Halloween themed one. We definitely didn't want to do an entire episode dedicated to Christmas like we assigned to Get Out to Halloween. There's just way too much holiday feels to go around to just assign one movie to it, which is why we decided to make this one our top 5 Christmas movies, our favorite top 5 Christmas movies. We'll throw in some honorable mentions, but I just wanted to get off of the ground by saying that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
I was going to open with that. I think I'm already disagreeing with that.
Just because it takes place over the Christmas timeline doesn't make it a Christmas movie. Just because there's fucking snow on the ground doesn't mean it's a Christmas movie.
It ends with Christmas music.
Oh my God.
I guess maybe Carol of the Bells would have helped it.
All right, so Batman 3 is a Christmas movie. So Batman, so is Iron Man 3, Dumb and Dumber, over that holiday.
Movie.
Rent, is Rent a Christmas movie? Like these things happen over the holidays. Doesn't mean that they're Christmas movies. What is the Christmas message in Die Hard? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You can't trust terrorists.
Germans.
German terrorists.
The Christmas message there is Alan Rickman is always a good choice during the winter holidays, whether he's Snape, whether he's Sweeney Todd's the judge, or whether he's Hans Gruber. Always a good decision to throw on an Alan Rickman movie. Actually, I've got an Alan Rickman movie in my top 5.
Really?
Not a movie. He's in it, but it's not a movie. Spoiler.
It's not a movie.
It's a movie, but he's not feature. He's in it, but he's not like a star.
Okay. All
He's
right.
a star,
Well,
but
it better be low on that list.
Let's start with some honorable mentions then. I'll give you my honorable mentions that, that I had a hard time leaving out, and that's Bad Santa, which is great.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
It did not make it into my top 5, unfortunately. The Grinch with Jim Carrey did not make it into my top 5. And Scrooged with Bill Murray was really hard to snip out. And yeah, that's not one of my top 5s, but all of those movies are great holiday movies, great Christmas movies if you guys are wanting to curl up with some cocoa. I don't know if you see a theme with those, but I'm interested to hear your honorable mentions if you have them.
I got a couple that I wanted to cut. First, Jingle All the Way. If you remember that.
Yeah. That's not Schwarzenegger, is it?
It is.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was my introduction to Arnold, and I think it's pretty fitting. It explains a lot about Arnold to me.
That's really good.
I'll Be Home for Christmas with the Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Remember that one?
Yeah. As a Family Guy. Anyway. Yeah. Yes, I do remember that one. I also remember his iteration where he became Santa. What was that called? I don't remember it, but he just kept eating and eating and eating. He couldn't know why.
I think that was just Santa Claus, wasn't it?
The Santa Claus or something like that.
It was just the Santa Claus. I think that's as much creative effort as they got.
It was a good movie. Not honorable mention, but a solid movie. You should watch it. Add it to your list if you're keeping a running count of Christmas movies to keep on the cycle.
I never finished that movie. I got weirded out when I first saw it to a point where he's just this is terrible. He's just transforming against his will like a werewolf.
It's like the opposite of that Thriller, Thinner, that scary movie where the guy just couldn't keep weight on until he the curse was to just shed weight until he's emaciated. This is the opposite of that, where he just it sounds like a nightmare. Actually, in Freddy Krueger 3, one of the nightmare creatures, one of the nightmares that this woman had was she just couldn't stop eating, and she got fat and she exploded. That's awful, but that's apparently the transformation you make in a Christmas movie when you're the next Santa Claus. So thanks, Tim Allen.
I have a dishonorable mention. that I want to throw out there, and it's Christmas with the Cranks. It is a painful movie to get through. I was a child and I received no joy in anything that was said or portrayed in that movie.
Remind me, who's in that?
Tim Allen again.
He's
And
trying to
Jamie Lee
cement
Curtis?
himself. Oh, okay.
I think.
I already see
But
where this movie's going with that casting. I don't remember. I've never seen it.
The kids are moving. They're not near home. What'll we do? We hate each other. What?
Yeah, that's always a weird message to shoehorn into a holiday film. Dysfunctional parents or something like that. You're like, God, do I really want to think about this? I want to look at the screen and imagine a life not as shitty as the one I have.
No, they depress you.
Which is why I'd never got into Krampus, which is sort of like the spooky cousin of holiday, like Saint Nick's sort of eerie, scary story. I'm like, yeah, maybe that'd be cool, but like that's not in my ecosystem. I don't do scary VR films, and like I'm just sort of dead to VR movies, to horror movies. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I was about to be like, well, that's a first. I think you're living in VR, man.
I am. I was in VR shortly before we recorded this.
I think Krampus, I wanted to watch for this in order to put it somewhere in this honorable mention section because I heard good things about it, like from Christmas horror parody kind of thing.
I had the same intuition. I was like, should I watch Krampus? I was like, I'm not really in them. It was one of those things like I was like, no, I'm not going to digest this. And I, you know how I feel about having movies on in the background. So I just spared myself.
I've perfected that art.
I do want to see it, but maybe not this season.
Next year. We got a year. We'll watch it.
We got
then.
a year. Yeah. Who knows? Are we going to... If
We'll figure it out.
2020 is a precursor to 2021, nothing is for certain. All right? Just everyone brace yourselves for whatever the fuck.
By this time next year, we'll just have a green screen of just like burning backgrounds, and it'll be like it's the same thing.
After this, we're gonna do a top 5 Armageddon movies. How do you think the world is gonna end? We should absolutely do that.
That would be perfect.
But for now, we're gonna round up top 5. You still got honorable mentions, or you?
Oh no, I'm good. The rest is Disney.
Oh, here, let me hear. I don't actually have a. I do have. Maybe I don't want to spoil it, but
My introduction to Christmas Carol was Mickey's Christmas Carol with Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck,
you know?
yeah.
And I just, for some, maybe it was this nostalgia, but it felt like they were that's like how it should have been represented, that story, just to make it feel as grand as it was or take you off guard. When Jiminy Cricket is the tiny one that first appears,
Yeah.
You're like, where's he coming from? Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, so I do have another honorable mention. But to round out my top 5, I wanted to capture that like grandiosity that you experience watching Christmas movies in front of the tree as a kid, right? Like, do any movies remotely pull that out of me as an adult? Or like, do I get that feeling when I go back and watch them, right? Because that's essentially what Christmas movies are. It's like the feeling of hope and joy and like the promise of a happy ending is what I embody it to be. The one movie that I worn out when I was a kid, honorable mention, it might have been on the list, but honorable mention because I just remembered it was Frosty the Snowman. It was like a claymation animation, and he would put on his hat and it would come to life and he would say, "Happy birthday," right? With his corncob hat. He didn't know that it was like Merry Christmas. That was I wore that VHS out as like a 5-year-old. I still remember like the gray VHS it came in. I couldn't wait to put it on. I'm pretty sure I annoyed the crap out of my parents. If your kids are watching Frozen on repeat, I watch that on repeat.
Man, yeah. You think that's a Christmas movie? I wouldn't put it under there. But
Oh, Frozen?
yeah.
I mean, depending on you and Thomas's criteria, there's snow on the ground. It's got to be a Christmas movie.
I think it works.
All right. I guess I'm gonna breach the first top 5. The top 5, number 5 on my top 5 Christmas movies of all time is Home Alone. I'm gonna group it together, say 1 and 2. Home Alone is up there. If yours is up there too, don't ruin it. You do the grandiosity of why you chose to rank it higher. But I think this is like a staple for every Christmas. There's so many questions I have in this movie now that I examine it as an adult, right? This rich family, what do the parents do? That like they live in this massive estate in the suburbs of Chicago and they have the luxury to forget a kid. And and like they don't know their neighbors. Like what is going on in this community, in this household? Like that's Kevin's house. Like how did they possibly leave him behind? The smartest people in there at least were the wet bandits. Like we're gonna just rip off these affluent people. They're not gonna miss it. This is one of the things where I'm like, Kevin, if you probably just would have hid in the cupboard and let them take the shit, like this movie would nothing would happen. Like that's even number 2, because I love the one in New York with the pigeon lady, because New York is my hometown, and New York City just takes on a different vibe around Christmas, and that's anything that brings you back to New York during Christmas, I'm in.
Huh. Wait, I'm going to interject.
Oh, please. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know the order of the show, but we've also never had an order. So
We are
so here I'm going.
one half of the Chaos Agents.
So I think that's a perfect pick. I'll tell you where mine is, but I think the 5th best is Elf with Will Ferrell and Zooey Deschanel.
Yes.
And it's a shocking answer, but it's also the best I've seen the ridiculousness of Will Ferrell get thrown into a movie. So I think between the ridiculousness of Will Ferrell versus the Sticky Bandits, I'm thinking Will is taking the entertainment cake, because Will Ferrell, they're both a little one note and how they joke.
Whoa.
Like, let's think. Oh, they're both a little one note.
Oh my God, you are shoveling shit today. Okay. You know what? I agree with you. And I take it a step further because Elf is my number 4 selection. So now we can celebrate that together. I ranked it above Home Alone because of Will Ferrell's Elf. Like for holiday movies, right? You need that ridiculousness grounded in some reality, and you never. I mean, it's you like never really sort of question it. You're just like, oh, I'm along for this ride. That makes sense. Dad, why don't you love him? Even though also it's got another staple that I love, New York City in the winter. Faison Love being the manager of the Macy's store was one of my favorite characters, especially coming in and seeing Will Ferrell upend his store. The Fraudulent Santa. This movie, I quote this movie year round. You sit on a throne of lies. This is a great film.
And then even when Will Ferrell's making fun of Peter Dinklage in that one scene as the CEO.
You're an angry elf. Yeah. Dude, James Caan is amazing. He's an amazing actor. One of my favorite films is The Program, which he plays a head coach of basically Florida State, ESU, Florida State University. He's a monster in that. And he brings that same angry grump fucking guy into the CEO boardroom. Yeah, this is great.
That's amazing. But what I mean when it's one note is I feel like Will Ferrell as Elf is always like he's playing it stupid or like really childish. He's got that naive childlike wonder in his eye still as an elf. But and that's his one note joke. He's putting Skittles on candy. He's calling people elves. He's just sitting in the bathroom listening to someone sing because it sounds nice.
He's eating the gum from underneath the subway fucking armrest. Free candy.
And like with the Sticky Bandits, their one note is, Reggie Fredgen, you son of a bitch. And then I think, I can't remember their names. Harry and, no. Tell me their names, because
It's
the
not
tall
Dumb
one.
and Dumber, Harry and Lloyd.
Yeah.
It
One
might
of them.
actually be Harry, but it's Daniel something and Joe Pesci who were playing the Wet Bandits. And it
I think
shoots them in the foot because they become the Sticky Bandits in part 2. When he tries to change it up with the glue and that stupid thing. But it's because of them that Home Alone, has any gravity whatsoever. Otherwise, it's a rich kid who gets a home staycation without his parents. He's ordering fucking pizzas. He's eating ice cream. This movie's a dream come true for children. Without the Wet Bandits this is why you don't want to be at home, because dangerous people are going to try to break in.
And who knows how many paint cans you'll have.
Yeah, right. Also, you throwing the hot iron on the door will melt the hinge off and release the bolt, right? So your door doesn't lock anymore. I had so many. Dude, the best thing he did was ice the stairway. That was, in my mind, the best thing he did. Anyway, what's your number 4?
To number 4, I don't know how you're gonna feel about this one. 8 Crazy Nights. It's an animated comedy from Adam Sandler, and listen, there's some poop jokes in it. I'm not gonna pretend there's not. All right.
I've never seen this. I meant to watch it, but I've never seen it. Okay.
Here's the thing. I guess I found it on Comedy Central one day, and for some reason, it's actually a musical. There's music in that movie, sung by Adam Sandler and other cast members. It's crazy.
I know the song. It was "Hey there, Veronica. It's time to celebrate Hanukkah." Is that in there?
That's in the credits, actually, from what I remember. That one, but that was on one of his albums. I think that one's on Spotify too, actually. But anyway, that one is quite a gem. There's actually quite a few bangers throughout that song. There's some annoying parts where Adam Sandler has to play this kind of short old man and his short old wife, and Adam Sandler's it up with, "Oh, I'll help you today," and there's some old hairy butt jokes and stuff like that, but ignore those parts because the music is where it shines. Adam Sandler, I think, kills it. He's a great actor, as we know. When he's given something he cares about.
I agree.
And for some reason, I think he cared about this one because it was about Hanukkah and Christmas, but just it was about him not liking Christmas and being his own Grinch, I guess. Oh my God, he was the Grinch.
It's got Rob Schneider.
The real Rob, you're saying?
I'm looking at the cast list now. Yeah, it's got Rob Schneider in it.
I mean,
everything 90s does.
He's always hopping on his bandwagon. That's my vote, and I really highly recommend people just look up a couple songs from it. The first one alone, he's escaping the first song in the movie, he's running from the police, and it's pretty nice. He's like, I'm not feeling Christmas this year. And I'm always surprised when Adam Sandler sings, and I'm happy by it.
He's got a good voice. You know who's knocking him off? Your boy Sandberg is basically taking his career in the Adam Sandler slipstream with the music and the comedy slapstick style. So I think he might be a decade too late, but I can totally plot his career off of what Adam Sandler's done. I can see him taking a dramatic arc in 2 decades and doing something like Uncut Gem version 2035. Yeah. So
I hope Andy Samberg could do something like that.
Has that staying power.
Yeah. Yeah. Adam Sandler's a good actor, but Andy Samberg just is great acting at being silly. I can't take him seriously if he's anything but a really douchey character.
You brought up a good point though with this movie. Music is what makes the holidays. Without the songs that we know to love, Elf had some great ones, but Home Alone, even when he goes to visit the church to pray the night before, it's about to go down. You know, I'm getting all those yeah, Carol of the Bells and all that stuff. Not so conventionally is my number 3, which also has like a decent musical element to it. It's called Love Actually. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a rom-com. I am not into rom-coms. I was forced to watch this way back in the day with a girl that I was dating, and I purposely admitted to her, I purposely lied to her that I didn't like this movie, but secretly I thought this movie was fucking amazing. And one of the guys in it, the movie starts, the guy's in the recording booth trying to he's like an old vocalist, and he's trying to revamp one of his songs for Christmas, and he keeps fucking it up, and he's in there cursing in the studio, and the song's like pop garbage.
It's time to stop!
And it's the movie that has Alan Rickman in it. It has Martin Freeman in it. It has it has Colin Firth in it, who plays like the love interest, the main character sort of love interest in the film. Colin Firth is like the most awkward kisser on the planet, and this movie like pulls that out. Like it looks like he's never been intimate with anyone in his life. Like this the kisses that he lays on his partners in this film are just like the most PG. This is if it wasn't for the cursing, this movie, actually, you know what? There's also partial nudity. Because Martin Freeman's character plays a body double for some actors, and there's a sex scene, and he's like pretending to like hump his body double scene partner from behind so that they can get the lighting right on this major motion picture. So he's like nude and doing this. It's an awkwardly funny film about 4 different subplots of like love and family and all that stuff intertwining to come together in this big airport scene at the end. Spoiler.
Is it really a spoiler for a romantic comedy?
Yeah, you know you can see where it's going by the time it fucking like by the first 15 minutes, you know how it's gonna end. But like you're here for the journey, and the journey in Love Actually, in addition to the music and the vibe of the movie, it's great. This is a movie I would say you would put on while everyone's making eggnog and having casual conversation in the living room, but maybe you're not paying attention to it. But if you do, you get some laughs and some chuckles and some adult humor out of it as well, and some feels. You know, Chris is all about the feels. What you got for number 3?
I'll check that out sometime, but I'll see your Love Actually, and I'll raise you what you already said earlier, a Home Alone 1 and 2. This is where I put it.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I love where
even with the Wet Bandit 1 notes. I'm sorry, repeat that.
Even with the 1 note Wet Bandits, those wet sticky bandits. I think this is I loved that. I said that I loved that you grouped them together, because I think the 1 and 2 pair, you can't really separate them.
You have to.
And if you do, it worsens. It doesn't worsen the first one, but it really worsens the one in New York. Cause like
worst parents ever.
First world problems. We left a kid at home in our mansion.
Yeah.
I think them being 1 note is just a comment. I don't think it's bad that they're 1 note, but that is their style. That was pretty much, they're like, I got a plan. Oh God, there's nails in my foot. It's through the bone. We have to go to the hospital. But we won't.
The tall, slim actor who he had the best antics to, getting shot in the head with a BB gun, the nail in the foot, the tarantula on the face, his scream, his Wilhelm scream was fucking great the entire film. And stepping on the glass, yeah, he got it the worst.
The only difference between the first and second one is that I feel like the second one is actually way more cartoony violent, to them. They stepped up how much they beat the crap out of the bandits in the second one.
Second one also has Rob Schneider in it. He's sleeping below. He's the hotel barmaid concierge guy. But it also has Tim Robbins, who plays the head butler who sees through Kevin's bullshit. Fun fact that I learned a month ago. That movie, that gray movie, Keep the Change, you filthy animal. That's not a real movie. That was
really?
That's so meta. It's like a movie within a movie. They made that just so that they could have that in Home Alone. So that actor is real-time actor, real modern-day actor. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I learned. Okay. Oh, there's a thing on Netflix. the movies that made us, and Home Alone's in there. A lot of this was shot in a gym. So the fact that the set design of those two movies, or at least the first one, and like a high school gym, the fact that you can't really tell that house isn't a mansion, because like basically every time you're inside the house in the first Home Alone, it is just a set inside a school gym that they've rearranged many different ways to make it look like, to make it look like the mansion. All the outside shots of the building,
including
were just from like
including the basement where the furnace comes alive. He was always scared of the furnace. So. Yeah,
I think so, because I'm trying to remember that scene exactly, but all of it was just being reworked all the time, and it's a beautiful house. I believed it completely. So I think, and the fact there's actual like really good emotional moments with this movie. Like they're a little weird sometimes in the second Home Alone where he's like friends with like this crazy bird lady. But you get why she's supposed to be scared or scary to him at first,
like the old man.
Yeah, and then she's so wise to teach him. Oh yeah, just like the old man.
These these holiday movies follow a formula, man.
Yeah, and I grew up with knowing the second one first, and then I went back and I was like, oh, because of just how much more brutal they beat the crap out of those bandits in the sequel.
That is what I call movie magic. The fact that entire set is, in a gym. I thought that like they rented out and bought the entire house, or like, because that house, you can find that house on like Zillow. That house is for sale. Zillow, give us a sponsorship. And like I forget, $1 million fucking home. So I thought that like they just like in my mind, I was like, it's easier to rent out an entire house because then you can stay there, and you don't have to worry about like people coming in and out. Like you can, film without interruption. But a gym, I guess, makes the same sort of case.
Yeah, they made it look as good as a mansion. So.
Home Alone 1 and 2 is a must-see. It's on both of our lists in 2 different locations. I'm going to stand by my 5. Aaron's going to stand by his 3, I'd imagine. But for number 2, it takes the theme again of music in my holiday film, because I'm going to say The Nightmare Before Christmas is number 2 on my list. And I love everything about it. I love the remake of it. I love Tim Burton's style. I love Sally and Jack's love. I love Mr. Oogie Boogie. I love the evil henchman. I grew up on that movie, and I almost wore that movie out. And I think that movie, honestly, if I'm being honest, that movie had a lot to do with shaping who I am at this point in my life, because I could probably sing every song from it. You've seen it, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I snapped because I got this on my list as well.
Spoiler.
Somewhere on here, but you'll never. Let me tell you my number 2 first. I think I put at number 2 Ron Howard's "How the Grinch Stole Christmas" with Jim Carrey.
Oh,
that movie, our family, because we were such a fan of Jim Carrey, every year that thing was on. And whether we were paying full attention or it was on in the background, it was just something like that. Really, that was traditional, I had everyone always go like, "Oh, you like that version?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do," because the production is fantastic. They made everyone look like a Who without making them look terrifying and disgusting. That would be I feel like that'd be pretty hard if you're a makeup artist. The set design actually looks great with those buildings and Universal Studios to this day. Just all the buildings stretched out, and it was really well done. If you have to change, if that is the best comic book adaptation. I know it's not a comic book, but
technically a graphic novel, eh? I mean, so with these Christmas movies in embodying the spirit of Christmas, it's what it makes you feel. And I can imagine that makes you feel like you're sitting among your family again, watching it in a group, no matter where you are watching it, right? Like, not only do you go into a trance with like, oh, this movie's amazing, but you're also like projecting yourself in the environment where you first consumed it, or, the sounds and smells of like Me and my cousins always heartily laughed at this part when we were 7 or something. And I think that's part of the magic of Christmas movies. I don't know that, Mel Gibson's Fat Man will have the same effect because it's geared towards adults. But
Can we review that?
when it comes out, we will absolutely review that.
Yes.
Maybe over the holiday. But yes, it's, so the top 5 is all about nostalgia, but I think if you see some themes, because this was also in my honorable mention, the list of holiday movies, which will be in the description that you guys should check out, are definitely ones that you should watch. And I'm going to include Die Hard in there, even though it is not a Christmas movie.
Vote on it. We'll put a Twitter. We'll do something. Just put in the comments. Do you think it's a Christmas movie?
No, I mean, do you think? I mean, what does voting do? Voting gets us Donald Trump, and voting gets us Nickelback, right? Like, what if votes matter anymore? It's all about taste, and hopefully, at this point, you trust our tastes enough to watch these movies. So far, with the exception of Love Actually. All of my movies you can put on with the family. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I think, and hopefully, maybe you'll surprise your family with Love Actually, or maybe 8 Crazy Nights, where there's a scene where 4 deers just shit. That's pretty much it. It's 5 seconds, but it's there.
So that kind of poopy humor and like it's not you don't see nudity. You get some cursing in Love Actually, and like. The main characters kiss their, love interests. But I would say, if you've got a mature tween in your, like, you can totally put these movies on. It's not even a problem. I wouldn't have a problem showing all of my kids these films, but you know how people are. Which brings us to number 1. And I'm probably going to be watching this movie on repeat. What's up?
All right, I'm gonna say my number 1 only because mine's, I feel like anyone guessed it, and yours is all we got for suspense now. No one knows what yours is. Nightmare Before Christmas.
It is worthwhile. Nightmare Before Christmas is a close second. It is so good.
That one's definitely my top one because its music and its claymation just stands the test of time. It still looks as good now as it did back then. You could make it today just as you did then and have it come out beautifully. Like,
the staying power of that film over these decades has been amazing to watch. Like, to go back and revisit and be like, oh dude, I'm still shaking my ass to this boogie song. Or, I'm finding myself like in the kitchen, like chopping carrots, being like, kidnap Mr. Sandy Claus? Being just like a complete weirdo to the song Never Losing My Dinosaur.
Dude, Boogie is like, he might be subconsciously the reason I love these playful villains in most movies I see, like just the villain who just doesn't mind being the asshole. It's great. I really good acting from everybody though.
Jack Skellington is sort of the first time I encountered a character who has it all and wants to throw it away, right? He just gets tired of being the king of his own kingdom, and he starts to expand into something new and accidentally mucks it all up in the process, right? And Santa Claus has to remind him, like, hey, we all have our specialties. Like, stick to what you do. And then, like, if you want to merge or cross over, like, it's a collaborative thing. Like, you can't just steal somebody's holiday, which kind of also says a lot about, like, when people start putting up Christmas decorations and Thanksgiving, like, fucking stay in your own tree, right? Let's not fucking bleed into each other's holidays here.
That's hilarious considering that it like takes Halloween. You can watch this either holiday and I think it still works.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. What's this? There's magic everywhere. What's this? I could sing the whole fucking song, but I'm not.
Dude, Jack's lament is amazing.
It is.
I'm trying to remember lyrics.
What have I done? How could I be so blind? That one. I really love Sally's song. I sense there's something in the wind that feels like tragedies at hand. That one is that's my favorite song. My all-time favorite song on this one is at the end of the movie where they do Jack's lament again, but Sally's on the, that curly hill, and he goes, "My dearest friend, if you don't mind, I'd like to join you by your side." That
No, God, please, no!
we can gaze into. So this is not a singing episode. We should do a musical episode. But Jack's lament is great. Yeah, you know what? I hit those notes so perfectly. We're gonna get copyright struck.
Sorry, Thomas. Can't cut it out.
Can't do it. Can't cut it out. Can't mute that.
That's the goal.
A keeper. But I mean,
Oh, and one thing, if it was done today, it would have gotten its own universe, extended universe, because of one scene with the trees and the different holiday doors.
Yeah.
Or Thanksgiving sells nothing.
And that's kind of genius of Tim Burton to do, because he's like he leaves open the door for he's like, hey, Warner Brothers, if you want to do a Christmas one, if you want to do a Thanksgiving or an Easter one, I already got the bunny, right? They kidnapped the bunny. People would love to see Jack again come save the day. I've got the Thanksgiving turkey there. Let's create these Tim Burton holiday worlds, which he could do. He could absolutely do.
The snap of his fingers.
But if it was made today, you're absolutely right. It would have just grown into a universe all its own. Now I love it just being sort of like a cult classic, not so cult classic, but whenever I pass somebody who's got a Skellington shirt on, or Sally dressed up for Sally as Sally for Halloween, I just kind of tip my hat like you're a boss.
You went to Hot Topic, didn't you?
Yeah. We would have been friends as kids. But for my number one all-time favorite Christmas movie, I'm going to round it out by saying, you'll shoot your eye out. A Christmas Story, man.
Okay.
A Christmas Story. That's like the Thriller of holiday movies, right? I'm going to play this in my house on repeat in the background, because all I need to do is hear it, and I've already got the scene playing out in my head. I know exactly where they are in the movie, who said what, and all these other. I went down a deep rabbit hole with that movie. Wow! The kid who stuck his tongue out, frozen to the pole. That guy is in Ocean's 11. As an adult, he's the guy beating up Danny Ocean in the in the back room where they think he is the entire night. And then that guy also wound up doing porn for a little bit. That guy's had a crazy fucking career.
That's good.
I haven't seen his porn, but Ralphie is 55, 60 now. Like that movie, the kid who got beat up with the black eye. Oh yeah, that same kid was in a Richard Pryor movie called The Toy, which was an amazing film. We should review that one. I think that movie stands the test of time. This Richard Pryor and this little kid. This little kid is so rich that he says, "I want that," and he points out the window, and it's like a black dude, Richard Pryor, and he wants him. I guess we got to give it to him, and then that's the premise of the movie. He's like this kid's toy, so they pay him weekly to hang out with this kid because he makes the kid laugh. It's ridiculous, but it's fucking great.
That's crazy. I gotta watch that.
But the dude who plays the dad in Christmas Story, that's Mr. Magoo. Do you remember that cartoon? The old guy with the fucking glasses who was blind, but he would always stumble ass backwards into fixing problems. And it's it's like Art Rocky and Bullwinkle age cartoon.
I guess I got on Rocky and Bullwinkle more because I know that one, but
yeah,
Mr. Magoo, I know vaguely. I never watched him specifically, but I saw him through the connected cartoon universe.
Dude, A Christmas Story has so many. When he beats up the bully, right? He just goes into this Super Saiyan place, and he just starts cursing his lungs out while he's pummeling this big, the cliche of the big redheaded racist bully. The freckly kid.
Gingers.
I think when I was a kid too, this movie sort of the fantasies that you build up about like your parents and how the world is, where it's like my mom and my teacher are conspiring against me to not get me this toy gun. You'll shoot your eye out. You'll shoot. And the lengths that you take it when, you know, his mom forces him to eat soap for saying, oh, fuck, which he's like the first time you curse in front of your parents. Really big deal. And they put soap in his mouth and he plays out this fantasy where soap caused blindness. So he returns home as an adult and like he just guilts his parents into, you know, forcing soap into his mouth. And then there's the pull and the allure of electric sex, which in a, you know, this is a family movie. This is absolutely a family movie. But when the statue, the sexy stocking leg statue comes into the house and like it's put in the home and Ralphie starts to like touch it, he's like, yeah, statue. You know, it's sort of like addresses parents' concerns. Like, is this did this Christmas movie take a Love Actually turn here, or is this still like a kid's sort of thing?
It's like, hold on, where are we going?
Yeah. Also, Family Guy called it out. That movie, the ending of the movie, when the Bumpus and the dogs come in, I don't know why he didn't shoot his neighbor's dog. I would have fucking shot those dogs for ruining my Christmas dinner. And I'm a dog person. I love dogs. But at the end where they go out to eat at a Chinese restaurant, do you remember that at all?
I remember highlights from this movie. I remember the scene where he's stuck to the pole. I remember him getting pushed down the slide and he's like, no, after just like tying up.
Just shoot your eye out, kid. Yeah.
And I remember the leg lamp, but it's not strong with me for some reason. But I hear people loving this one.
I can't put my arms down.
No!
Anyway, at the end of the movie, because the dinner got ruined, right? The mom's making this amazing turkey, and then the dogs get in the house after Ralphie does shoot his eye out almost. Good thing he was wearing glasses. And they go to this Chinese restaurant, and the waiters and wait staff in the Chinese restaurant are speaking in an Asian dialect. They're very clear that they're Americanized immigrants. But then they start singing Christmas songs in this Asian accent. And as a kid, you find it funny, but as an adult, you're like, oh, that's fucked up, man.
Check your watch. That wasn't that long ago either.
Yeah, exactly. Because the punchline here is like, they're really bad at Christmas because they're not from here. And that's the entire thing you're laughing at. But it's not in a tongue-in-cheek way. You're like laughing at these people. And you're just not, it's not cool, man. Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, we evolved. That's bad.
So this movie exists in a time capsule, even with all its flaws. And those are our top 5 Christmas movies. We've got to see Krampus, and then we've got to see Fat Man when that comes out. But let us know what you guys enjoy on the holidays. And
let me know if anyone knows who Walton Goggins is, because that's why I want to see Fat Man. He's just an actor I love. He's really good at playing crazy or
is
terrifying.
He the Hitman?
Yeah, he's the Hitman.
That's going to be a good... I'm here for your head, Fat Man. Yeah, I can't wait for that one to come out. But we got more of these coming soon, so thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the description. Bye.